Some doors only open after humiliation. Subscribe to Emo Saga for dramatic romances and power reversals where every moment leads somewhere, and every story ends with clarity. I don't knock the first time. I stand outside the glass office door, fingers clenched around the strap of my worn handbag, watching my reflection shake faintly in the polished surface. The building smells like money, clean, sharp, untouched by desperation. My sister works on the top floor. Of course she does. When I finally knock, the assistant barely looks up. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," I say quietly. But she's expecting me. The lie tastes bitter. The assistant studies me, my plain coat, my scuffed shoes, the careful way I'm standing like I don't want to take up space. After a moment, she sighs and picks up the phone. My sister doesn't come to the lobby. She sent someone else. The conference room is all glass and light and control. My sister sits at the head of the table, perfectly composed, hair sleek, blazer tailored so precisely it looks sculpted rather than sewn. She doesn't stand when I enter. She doesn't smile. She gestures to the chair across from her. "Sit," she says. I do. The silence stretches. She looks at me like she's inspecting damage. "So," she says finally. "What happened?" I swallow. I don't answer right away, because saying it out loud makes it real. "I lost my apartment," I say. She raises an eyebrow. "Already?" "I tried," I reply. "I really did." She exhales through her nose, unimpressed. "You always do things the hard way." I don't argue. I didn't come here to defend myself. "I need help," I say. The words burn on the way out. Her gaze sharpens, not with concern, but with calculation. "How much?" "I don't want money," I say quickly. I need a job. Something stable." Her lips curve faintly. "You came all this way for that?" "Yes." She leans back in her chair, fingers steepled. "You could have asked sooner." "I didn't want to," I admit. "That much is obvious." The door opens. A man walks in without knocking. Tall, immaculate, the kind of presence that bends rooms around him. "This meeting was moved," he says, voice cool. Then he notices me. His gaze flicks over me once, efficient, dismissive. "And who's this?" My sister doesn't hesitate. "My sister," she says. "She needs a job." The man's eyes return to me, sharper now. Assessment replaces disinterest. "I'm the CEO," he says flatly, like it's supposed to mean something to me. "I'm aware," I reply quietly. Something flickers in his expression. Not irritation. Amusement. "She's underqualified," he says after a moment, glancing at my sister. And clearly unprepared. Heat rushes to my face. "I have experience," I say. He finally looks at me properly. "Experience begging family for help?" he asks. The words land like a slap. My sister doesn't correct him, doesn't defend me. She watches instead. Testing. "I'm not begging," I say, voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "I'm asking for an opportunity." He smiles thinly. "This company doesn't run on opportunities. It runs on results. And you think I can't deliver?" I ask. He shrugs. I think desperation clouds judgment. The room feels smaller. The glass walls too exposed. I glance at my sister. She doesn't meet my eyes. "Give her something small," the CEO says. "Temporary. Clerical. If she fails, she's gone." My sister considers it, then nods. "Fine. That's it. No discussion. No dignity. Just conditions." "I'll take it," I say before she can change her mind. The CEO's gaze snaps back to me. "Don't interrupt decisions above your station," he says coolly. I feel something inside me fracture. But I nod. Understood. The job is worse than I expect. Windowless. Monotonous. A reminder every hour that I don't belong. People look through me, around me. Except him. The CEO makes a point of noticing. Correcting. Undermining. He questions my work in meetings he knows I'm not allowed to speak in. He asks pointed questions designed to make me stumble. When I don't, his smile tightens. One afternoon, he corners me by the elevators. "You should be grateful," he says quietly. "For what?" "For being allowed in the building," he replies. "Most people like you don't make it past security." I meet his gaze. "You don't know anything about me." He chuckles. "I know you came here with nothing." I go home that night and cry into a pillow I don't own. Sleep on a borrowed couch. Wake up and go back anyway. Weeks pass. I don't fail. I learn. I listen. I notice things other people miss because they assume I'm invisible. I don't correct the assumption. My sister never checks in. The CEO watches more closely. One evening, I'm called into the conference room again. The CEO is there. So is my sister. And a folder on the table. We've had an issue, the CEO says. He slides the folder toward me. Inside are documents, contracts, numbers, and a name I recognize. My father's. My sister's posture stiffens. You went digging, she says sharply. I had to, he replies. Your sister isn't who she pretends to be. I look up slowly. What do you mean? The CEO's smile is tight. You forgot one thing, he says. Your last name. My heart starts to pound. It took me longer than I like to admit, he continues. But your background doesn't match your story. He looks at my sister. You didn't tell me she walked away from a controlling trust fund. The room goes very quiet. My sister's face drains of color. That wasn't your information to uncover, she snaps. He ignores her. His gaze returns to me. You didn't come here broke, he says. You came here refusing to touch money most people would kill for. I straighten in my chair. You don't get to decide what integrity looks like, I say. His expression shifts. Not amusement. Concern. You should have told me, my sister whispers. I didn't want special treatment, I reply. The CEO exhales slowly. And for the first time since I met him, he looks unsettled. Because the power dynamic just shifted. And he realizes it. Too late. The silence in the conference room thickens. Not the awkward kind, the dangerous kind. The kind that happens when power realizes it may have miscalculated. The CEO doesn't sit back down. He stays standing, hands braced on the table, eyes locked on the folder like it might accuse him if he looks away too long. You could have mentioned it, he says finally, voice measured but tight. It would have saved everyone time. I laugh once softly. No, I say. It would have saved you embarrassment. My sister flinches. You let me beg. I continue, turning to her now. You watched him talk down to me. You watched me get stripped of dignity, and you said nothing. Her jaw tightens. You didn't want protection. I didn't want humiliation either. The words hang heavy between us. The CEO clears his throat. Let's be clear. This changes things. That's funny, I reply. Because nothing about me changed. He looks at me then, really looks. Not as a problem, not as a liability, but as something that no longer fits neatly into his hierarchy. You walked away from generational wealth, he says slowly. Do you know how many people would have killed for that position? Yes, I say. That's why I walked away. My sister exhales sharply. She didn't want the strings. Strings? The CEO echoes. Control, I say. Silence. Ownership. I didn't want to be bought. His expression hardens. And now you expect what? He asks. Applause. No, I reply. I expect accountability. The word lands. Hard. He straightens fully now. You were treated according to what you presented, he says coolly. And you treated me according to what you assumed. I shoot back. That's on you. He doesn't deny it. That's how I know I've hit something real. My sister finally speaks again. This conversation is getting unproductive. No, I say quietly. It's getting honest. She looks at me sharply. You don't get to rewrite this company's structure because your feelings were hurt. I stand. Slowly. Deliberately. I didn't ask for structure. I say. I asked for dignity. The CEO watches me like I've become unpredictable. Dangerous. Interesting. I'm resigning. I say. The words surprise even me. My sister's head snaps up. What? I'm done, I repeat. I didn't come here to prove myself to people who decided my worth before I spoke. The CEO frowns. You're quitting? Yes. After everything? My sister asks. After this, I correct. I stayed long enough. I slide my badge onto the table. The sound echoes louder than it should. You're making a mistake, the CEO says. I smile faintly. You already made yours. I leave the building with my head high. For the first time since I walked through those doors, the air outside feels breathable. The fallout is not immediate, but it is thorough. 2 weeks later, the board launches an internal audit. Not because of me, because of the folder. The one the CEO opened too aggressively. Because when he started digging into my past, he uncovered other things too. Unethical contracts, hidden clauses, quiet coercion, things that thrive when people are too proud to look closely. The CEO is placed on administrative leave. My sister calls me the night it happens. Her voice sounds tired. They're blaming him, she says. But they're looking at everything. I close my eyes. I didn't ask for this. I know, she says quietly. But it's happening anyway. There's a pause. I should have defended you, she adds. Yes, I say. You should have. Weeks pass. I find work elsewhere. Smaller company. Less prestige. More respect. One afternoon, my sister shows up at my apartment unannounced. She looks different without the armor. Less polished. More human. I was wrong, she says. I don't answer right away. I thought strength meant distance, she continues. I thought survival meant hardening. And now? I ask. Now I think it meant standing up when it mattered. We don't reconcile immediately, but we talk. That's a start. Months later, I hear the CEO has been formally removed. Quietly. No headlines. Just consequences. One evening, I'm at a small networking event. Casual. Unimpressive. Real. Someone introduces me to a man from the board of my sister's former company. He recognizes my last name. Doesn't say it aloud. Just nods. You were right to leave, he says quietly. I smile. I know. As I walk home that night, I realize something important. Karma didn't hit hard because I demanded revenge. It hit because the truth doesn't need cruelty to dismantle arrogance. I didn't beg anymore. I didn't hide. I didn't burn the place down. I simply stood still long enough for the truth to catch up. And when it did, the people who underestimated me were the ones left exposed.